You ever had a headache so bad you thought, maybe if someone just drilled a hole in my skull, I'd feel better? Well, congratulations. You just channeled your inner caveman neurosurgeon. Because thousands of years ago, people actually did that. With stones, no anesthesia, and somehow they survived. Welcome back to Hidden Reflex, where we dig through the dusty corners of history and find out that humans have always been just a little bit insane, but scientifically so. Today's rabbit hole, or should I say skull hole, is called trepanation. That's the ancient art of drilling, scraping, or chiseling a hole through your head while somehow thinking, yep, this seems reasonable. And before you imagine some isolated tribe doing this once, surprise, it's everywhere. From Stone Age Europe to the Inca civilization to ancient China and Greece, everyone, apparently, was a part-time brain surgeon. Archaeologists have found skulls up to 10,000 years old with neat circular holes, smoothed edges, and, here's the creepy part, signs of healing. Meaning, people lived after the procedure. Either we underestimated our ancestors or overestimated their sanity. But here's the twist. Trepanation wasn't always about death or torture. In their minds, it was therapy. Headaches, spirits in the brain, seizures, evil wind trapped inside, depression. Clearly, your skull pressure is off. It sounds ridiculous now, but remember, when you don't have MR, eye scanners, or WebMD, any weird behavior is either the gods or ghosts. And the only way to fix ghosts in your head? Let them out. Literally, let's timeline this madness. Step 1, the Stone Age Special, roughly 8,000 to 5,000 years before Christ. Picture this. You're sitting in a cave, your head's pounding, and your local healer walks in with a rock, a bone, and too much confidence. He tells you to relax. He starts scraping. And you, in the name of prehistoric medicine, just let him. These early skulls show no signs of random violence. The holes are too precise. Archaeologists even found practice skulls, like an internship from hell. And somehow about 70% of patients survived. Because if the infection didn't kill you, the relief of pressure sometimes actually helped. Which means, accidentally they may have stumbled on the first form of neurosurgery. By trial, error, and pure stubbornness. Step 2, ancient Greece and Rome, when Hippocrates gave it a Latin name. Fast forward a few thousand years. Doctors like Hippocrates and Galen take trepanation mainstream. But instead of let the spirits out, it becomes release bad humors. Because apparently the human body was a leaky system that needed venting, like a broken coffee machine. Greek physicians even had special tools called trepans, basically skull corkscrews. Some even came with safety stoppers, so you didn't accidentally dig too deep. Imagine that around 400 years before Christ and someone says, maybe we should stop before we hit the brain. Progress. Step 3. The Middle Ages, when medicine and witchcraft shared the same marketing department. By medieval times, trepanation had gone full Gothic. Barber surgeons, yes, the guy who cuts your hair, also drilled skulls between trimming beards and bleeding people with leeches. They claimed it cured insanity, seizures, even melancholy. If your brain felt sad, they'd just air it out. Some believed it brought you closer to God, because nothing says spiritual enlightenment like a hole in your cranium. And when someone died from it, totally not the surgeon's fault, it was the devil. Classic medieval customer service. Step 4, the Renaissance, where science sneaks in. Jump to the 1500s. Artists are painting the human body in glorious detail, and surgeons start thinking, maybe we should stop treating skulls like pumpkins. They begin mapping brain injuries from battlefields and discover, shocker, not all head trauma kills you. In fact, drilling to relieve pressure after injury could save lives. Modern neurosurgeons still do a version of this today, called a craniotomy. So yeah, the caveman's terrible idea became medicine's bold idea. By accident. Step 5, the 1960s, because of course the 60s got involved. Some people decided trepanation wasn't just ancient medicine. It was a spiritual upgrade. A Dutch guy named Bart Hughes literally drilled his own skull with a dentist's drill, claiming it made him permanently high. He wrote a manifesto called Homo sapiens correctus. Spoiler, the medical community strongly disagreed, but a small cult following formed around the idea that drilling your head could expand consciousness, because apparently enlightenment required a power tool. So somewhere between LSD and flower crowns, humanity said, hey, let's bring back Stone Age brain mods. And that, my friends, is why we can't have nice things. Now here's where it gets interesting and weirdly poetic. Trepanation started as superstition, evolved into medicine, then resurfaced as self-help. From stone tools to steel drills to sterile operating rooms, it's the same story repeated across centuries. Humans trying to understand what's inside their own heads. Literally. So what does this say about us? That ancient people weren't dumb, just desperate. They didn't have data, but they had curiosity. And that combination is a dangerous, wonderful thing. Because even without modern science, they noticed patterns. People with head injuries sometimes improved when pressure was relieved. So they experimented with themselves. Pain became the price of discovery. And weirdly enough, sometimes it worked. Fast forward to today. Neurosurgeons still drill into skulls, but now it's sterile, anesthetized, and blessedly demon-free. We call it decompressive craniectomy. They called it letting the bad spirits out. Different vocabulary, same instinct. There's something deeply human about that, right? Across 10,000 years, we've been trying to fix our brains with whatever tools we had. Sometimes a flint rock, sometimes a titanium drill. And every era thought it was doing the right thing. That's the haunting part. Progress doesn't feel like progress when you're living through it. It feels like madness, until history proves you right. Think about it. Every generation looks at the past and says, wow, they were insane. But the future will say the same about us. What will they laugh at? Maybe our obsession with screens, or our dopamine addictions. Maybe they'll find a digital trepanation, some virtual surgery we do to our minds every time we scroll too long. That's the loop of human behavior. We chase understanding through discomfort. We cut ourselves open, metaphorically, sometimes literally, to see what's inside. Because not knowing is worse. Not knowing drives us to madness. So yeah, trepanation sounds horrifying. But maybe it's the purest example of human curiosity. A refusal to accept pain as mystery. A willingness to bleed for answers. From ancient caves to sterile hospitals. The method changed. The motive didn't. We've always been desperate to understand the thing that makes us, even if it meant cracking it open. So next time you get a migraine, take an aspirin. Your ancestors took a chisel, and somehow that's both terrifying and kind of inspiring. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.